Every powerful tool in human history brings enormous benefits, right alongside previously unknown risks. When early public utilities rolled out gaslighting, the nighttime economy thrived, but entire city blocks suddenly faced the threat of burning to the ground. We saw the same pattern in the domestic sphere. Bringing early electrification into our homes gave us on-demand light, but it also forced a sharp learning curve regarding house fires and electrocution. The commercial expansion of the internet followed that exact cycle. Global communication became instantaneous, arriving alongside brand new forms of digital fraud, viruses, and theft. Artificial intelligence is simply the next iteration of a disruptive human tool. To understand its risks, we have to look past the sci-fi tropes of independent robot minds. At its core, an AI system is a massive, highly efficient mirror trained entirely by scanning massive sets of human data, and that creates a central tension. Because AI learns its operational logic from human history, it inevitably absorbs our historical flaws, biases, and blind spots. Treating this technology like an infallible calculator invites disaster. Acknowledging that it is a flawed reflection of ourselves is exactly what allows the tool to be used safely. To see how this happens, consider a high-stakes scenario. A large corporation decides to use an automated algorithm to filter incoming job applications. The process starts with an initial training phase. The company feeds the model thousands of resumes from people they've successfully hired in the past, allowing the system to digest the records and identify winning patterns. But there is a hidden demographic imbalance within that historical training data. Past human hiring managers may have heavily favored one specific group, meaning the system now observes that The algorithm doesn't recognize this demographic imbalance as a historical flaw. It mathematically interprets the skewed numbers as a strict requirement for future success and generates a filtering gate that rejects new applicants who lack that dominant trait. No engineer sat down and programmed the system to be prejudiced. The exclusion happened because the software executed mathematically perfect logic on historically skewed records. This dynamic defines the field of AI ethics, the study of how to design and use these systems responsibly. It proves that an algorithm can function exactly as designed, while still generating outcomes that are mathematically sound but socially damaging. Accidental bias is a risk we have to manage when AI tries to reflect reality, but the stakes rise when generative AI is used to intentionally distort it. The exact same pattern recognition engines used to predict text or generate code can be inverted to synthesize convincing, entirely fake media from scratch. These synthetic images, audio, and video files are known as deepfakes. Because they can manipulate human faces and voices with accuracy, they break the mechanisms we rely on to trust what we see online. Building these highly capable generative models requires an enormous amount of raw material, which has led tech entities to harvest personal data on a massive scale. This reliance on our digital footprints raises legitimate privacy concerns. It forces us to ask how our information is collected, where it is being stored, and whether anyone actually consented to this level of utilization. At the same time, because the technology can replicate complex human cognitive patterns, certain industries are facing real threats of job displacement as companies automate repetitive knowledge work. When you combine the erosion of digital truth with massive personal data extraction and shifting labor markets, you create a systemic vulnerability. These issues cannot be solved by better coding alone. They demand deliberate human intervention. Despite the rapid deployment of these tools, their long-term societal impact is still an unsettled science. There is no unified consensus among experts. Highly optimistic forecasts project massive net job creation, medical breakthroughs, and incredible gains in daily productivity. This visual scale shows the wide distribution of those expert forecasts. Over on the far right, skeptics issue severe warnings, projecting unchecked misinformation, heavy job loss, and an immediate demand for strict safeguards. This massive variance in expert forecasting puts global governments in a difficult position, forcing them to react to the technology rather than guide it. This is the driving force behind regulation. It is an active, ongoing scramble to balance raw economic innovation against the necessary guardrails for public safety. Because the debate remains open, different nations are currently adopting notably different, often conflicting legal frameworks to try and contain the risks. Facing these extreme risks provides the mandatory foundation for the guardrails that allow the tool to succeed without causing massive collateral damage. As this technology continues to evolve, the conversation shifts to you. What is one specific, immediate way that you can take personal responsibility for your daily use of these AI tools?